CBS News Bay Area presents an original special, Una Familia, a Hispanic heritage celebration.
Together in celebration and in the day-to-day struggles,
Have to be all day pushing hard and hard and hard.
our Hispanic communities across the Bay Area find strength in each other.
Immediately like family, like connecting with my roots, my culture.
Toasting the successes
Part of our legacy, is part of our traditions.
and striving for even more.
Voting power means economic power. It means cultural power.
We are Una Familia.
Hello and welcome to our CBS News Bay Area original special, Una Familia, a vibrant celebration of Hispanic heritage. I'm Ramirez.
And I'm Gianna Franco. In the next hour, we will take you on a journey through the stories of our Bay Area Hispanic communities, their successes, their struggles, power, and perseverance. Let's dive in and celebrate together.
And we kick things off in the Salinas Valley, where I had the opportunity to meet a farm worker turned farm owner, an inspiring individual who's living out his American dream. Sunrise in the Salinas Valley, and Espíritu Santos has already been at work for 4 hours harvesting his zucchini.
You had to see which one qualifies. This one is the extra fancy. You look is looking good.
He works like this every day.
You had to harvest the good one and cut the bad one, throw it away because they're gonna damage the plant.
Sundays and holidays included.
You don't have any Sundays. You didn't have any like family events. You had to work. Your birthday day, you had to work. Right, you have to be all day, pushing hard and hard and hard.
But he isn't working that hard for just anyone. For the first time in his life, he's his own boss.
I'm coming for looking for the American dream. This one's a good one.
Santos is the owner of La Biznaga Organic Farms. It's small, just 6.5 acres outside of Salinas. But its neat rows of zucchini, broccolini, celery, and green beans are well tended, productive, and bursting with color. Santos works the land himself and often hires his father and mother and sister and brother to help him harvest. The family immigrated from Mexico when Santos was just 15. They started with nothing, often working on large corporation farms like this one by day and sleeping on bare floors in a rented room at night. But all that changed when he found a program to help fledgling farmers.
After working on the strawberry fields for almost 6 years, I found ALBA. Someone told me about ALBA.
ALBA is the Agriculture Land-Based Training Association, which has its roots in President Johnson's War on Poverty from the 1960s. It's evolved into a public and privately funded organic farm incubator with classrooms, equipment, and acres of prime land, which it leases to farm workers who dream of something bigger.
Our goal is not to grow vegetables, really. It's to grow farmers. And help create a pipeline for new
Nathan
generation.
Harkelroad is ALBA's education program director.
As you probably know, farmers are aging out in California and across the country, and we need new folks to fill their boots. And in our experience, farm workers are a great pool of talent to do that. They usually come from farming backgrounds in Mexico, and they've been learning on the job in California, working in the ag industry, and they have the work ethic and the drive and are willing to make the sacrifice to get a business off the ground.
Santos enrolled in the program 3 years ago and took English classes at night. ALBA taught him organic farming, business planning, marketing, and food safety regulations.
When I started the courses, okay, I see my future, and when they give me the land, I couldn't even believe that I have half an acre, starting my small business, being my own owner, and like, as you can see, right now I'm so happy that ALBA helped me with my dream. Some of the zucchini is going to the Bay Area.
Santos's farm is now certified organic, and he gets top dollar for his produce, which he sells to distributors who ship to well-known grocery chains throughout California.
They're selling really good prices.
And he continues to invest in himself, putting his profits into equipment and planning for when he goes on his own. Farmers must exit the ALBA program after 5 years. But by then, Santos should have enough experience to complete the transition from farm worker to independent farm owner.
We have a huge need for more equity in our food system. The writing's on the walls. We have 90% of the labor force in agriculture being Latino, okay, usually immigrants from Mexico or other parts of Central America, yet they only represent 4% of the farm owners. So we want the demographics of our farmers to more fully represent the demographics of the state and country, and that's what we're all about.
Santos's goal now is to have a 50-acre ranch of his own.
I am the motor of the car, and that's the successful being a small farmer.
And so he plans to keep on working hard to make the next phase of his American dream come true.
As many people strive toward that American dream, there is also deep concern among immigrants over mass deportations amid what is a tense political season. And for some, that's fueling action. Our Jose Martinez has more on a push in the South Bay to make people's voices heard.
Maria Corrales, a recently naturalized U.S. citizen after living in the country for almost 30 years, is ready to cast her vote in November. For her, the stakes couldn't be higher.
Para mí va a ser muy importante el votar por la persona adecuada que realmente quiera ayudar a la comunidad. En este momento yo creo que los políticos se están enfocando en mirar sus diferencias, pero en realidad es una necesidad que se enfoquen cómo van a ayudar a los ciudadanos.
Corrales isn't alone. The conversation around voting is alive at Amigos de Guadalupe. Ms. Raín Mendoza, the director of operations at Amigos de Guadalupe, emphasizes just how crucial voting is for this community.
The most important thing that we need to do is vote, okay? We have a very, very low percentage of people that are able to vote here in the east side of San Jose, but they don't vote. And I feel that the issue is because they don't feel that the vote matters, right? But we here telling them that the vote matters for us. Right, the people that we cannot vote.
According to a 2018 Pew Research Center study, about 55% of Latino adults say they worry that they, a family member, or a close friend could be deported. In the 2020 election, a record 16.6 million Latinos cast their votes, making up 13% of the total electorate. With upcoming elections, the Latino vote is expected to play a pivotal role in shaping the outcome, as more citizens feel the need to protect their communities, just like Maria Corrales is planning to do this year.
Cuando yo estaba aquí migrante, tenía mis hijas pequeñas, siempre tenía un temor muy grande de que eso me pasara a mí. Miraba familias destrozadas, separadas y niños completamente que los quitaba el sistema.
For Maria and many others, it's not just about politics. It's about family, community, and the fight to preserve their way of life.
In San Francisco's Mission District, there is a vibrant theater class that's open to all.
Lorena Ayub introduces us to the instructor behind it, determined to share her art form despite some setbacks.
A little improvising to warm things up. Berta Hernandez is teaching the joy of theater at the Mission Cultural Center for Latino Arts.
I have been doing theater since I was 15. I am 60 now, and I was never able to stop.
And while the classes might be free, Berta's deep-rooted passion is priceless. Originally from Mexico City, Berta loves empowering creatives in the Mission community with access to the theater arts experience. It's the kind of access she says she was unable to find when she first moved to San Francisco and attempted to join theater groups.
The fact that they asked for my documents, my immigration status, in order to belong to a theater group, it was very crazy.
And she believes that kind of crazy only belongs on the stage. Berta views performing arts as not just a human right, but a sacred, universal community experience.
They also wanted me to be an actress and to have an audition. I didn't never consider myself an actress. I consider myself a person that does theater, a teatrera. So you don't need to do an audition to be a teatrera. Anybody can be a teatrera. Anybody can go on the stage, or can go to the street, or can go to any place and perform.
And providing performances in Spanish is what sets the theater class apart. Mariel Paulina Canepa moved from Argentina to the Bay Area, and she says studying with Berta reminds her of home.
When I transfer here, suddenly I feel
immediately like family, like connected with my roots, my culture, super happy to be surrounded by the community. Like once you get mission, definitely you feel like home.
And that feeling of home is just what Berta hopes to provide through her theater classes for immigrants, locals, and anyone passionate about self-expression.
We need to not only to survive, but to have a good life. And as part of that good life is the ability to do theater, to do arts, to be part of this wonderful way of expressing as humans.
The kind of expression that connects from the stage to the seats.
And those classes take place on Wednesdays and Fridays, and they're free.
That's great to hear. Well, still ahead on Una Familia, we know there is nothing like our mother's recipes.
See how a mother-daughter duo went from being street vendors to having their very own storefront, and the organization helping to make that happen for many others as well.
And later, not just for the guys anymore, see how women are changing the rules in the lowrider world.
Sights and sounds from El Grito de Dolores in San Francisco's Civic Center Plaza. It was all about celebrating Mexican independence and culture. There was dancing and music along with vendors highlighting indigenous clothing and jewelry. Organizers say Hispanic people are part of the fabric of America and should be celebrated as such.
Especially in California, the percentage of Latino Hispanic is about 50%. And so there's no getting around us. We're here, we're very present, we're contributing to the economy, contributing to the history of this country.
From the streets of San Francisco's Mission District to a family-owned restaurant in the Tenderloin, one woman's journey is a testament to the resilience and power of dreams. Estrella Gonzalez has taken her mother's humble street vending operation and transformed it into Estrellitas Snacks, a beloved new restaurant that serves up traditional Salvadoran and Oaxacan cuisine. Our Jose Martinez has more on this inspiring story.
What you see here is a dream come true for Estrella González and her mother, María del Carmen Flores.
Empezó con $20. Ella compró $20 de platanitos para hacer y fue pues algo así, un antojo que tuvimos. En ese entonces en las tiendas no habían platanitos chips de las que ella hacía allá en El Salvador.
This newly opened restaurant in the Tenderloin is the result of a lot of hard work. It all began on the streets of the Mission District 20 years ago, selling plantain chips on 24th and Mission Streets. But their journey from street vendors to restaurant owners was anything but easy. The constant threat of police action and the language barrier made it difficult for them to grow their business.
Una vez la policía le encontró y le tiró sus cosas y le dijo, oh, no puedes vender aquí, te vamos a tirar tus cosas porque no están higiénicamente pues, procesadas. Y pues ella se molestó y dijo, bueno, pero yo estoy trabajando honradamente, no estoy robando ni nada así, pero no puedes hacer esto. Y le tiraron sus cosas. Y ya después teníamos que andarnos escondiendo. O sea, veíamos un policía y movernos de ahí, o sea, andarnos moviendo a cada rato.
But in 2005, everything changed when they joined La Cocina, a nonprofit that helps immigrant women formalize and expand their food businesses.
Estrella's mom, Maria del Carmen, was a kitchen user at La Cocina for 10 or 12 years at least. And, you know, she was an incredibly hardworking, persistent, diligent, and talented chef.
Blake Kuttner is the director of entrepreneur business development at La Cocina. He tells me that this incubator currently has 35 participants with at least 70 already graduated, and 30 of them have opened up their own businesses.
Finding ways to take the talent that they have inherent and bring that to the public, to the community. So that involves helping them work their way over and through all the hurdles and challenges that we have as a city.
With La Cocina's help, Estrellita Snacks went from unpermitted street vending to a thriving business known for its delicious pupusas and other traditional dishes.
Bueno, mi mamá siempre ha sido una líder, vamos a decir 100% total. Mi mamá fue empresaria en El Salvador, ella tenía un puesto en el mercado, vendía frutas, vendía chip, vendía de todo, con mi abuela. Mi abuela fue, yo creo que mi mamá lo traía de mi abuela. Mi abuela era una empresaria, ella también tenía su puesto y todo, y mi mamá le seguía. Y en este caso le sigo yo a mi mamá.
Today, Estrella and her brother run Estrellita's Snacks, located on Ellis Street. The restaurant's menu is a blend of Salvadoran and Oaxacan cuisine, prepared with love and care. So, of course, we had to taste the food. For aspiring street vendors looking to grow their businesses, Estrella offers some words of wisdom.
Si tienen un sueño, un plan y una meta, y que no haya ningún obstáculo para salir adelante, porque nosotros hemos tenido muchos obstáculos, empezando con el idioma, que te dicen, oh, no vas a poder porque tú no hablas inglés. Y le digo, pero eso no importa. Mi mamá siempre decía, yo no hablo inglés, pero mi comida habla por mí.
Estrella's journey is a shining example of determination and the enduring power of family.
Tequila has long been the new buzzy spirit, with big-name celebrities like George Clooney, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Kendall Jenner all hawking their brand of Mexican liquid gold. But as our Itay Hot reports, there's a new kid on the block that seems to be having a moment.
East Oakland may not be the first place you think of for a tasting experience, but behind this unassuming gate,
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hugo Gonzalez is shaking things up with a spirited twist.
Have a seat.
A couple of years ago, Gonzalez turned his humble garage into a mezcal mecca, where every sip is a shot of history, culture, and just the right amount of kick.
Mezcal, right now it's having a moment.
A former lawyer from Mexico City, Gonzalez traded in his briefcase for a bottle of agave, or more precisely, hundreds of them, using his rare mezcal collection like a library of liquid stories.
We're going to start with a 100% sotol.
His goal is to spread the word about the complexity of mezcal, also known as tequila's smoky cousin.
That one is the...
While mezcal has been part of Mexican culture for centuries, in the last few years it's been enjoying an explosion in popularity. Mezcal sales have increased by double digits year over year, making it one of the fastest growing spirit categories in the country.
Beautiful, rich finish.
Andy Miller, a bartender from San Francisco, says part of the allure is the fact that agave plants can take years to mature.
You're really drinking the wind, the rain, the hands and love of the people who made the product.
It's why Gonzalez says it's important to savor every single drop.
They call it the besito a besito. A little kiss. A little kiss, you know, just small sips.
The hope, he says, is that people appreciate not just the final product, but the plant itself.
It's part of our legacy, it's part of our traditions, and I believe if, you know, like, it's part of our blood in a way.
A centuries-old drink bringing people together. Proof that the spirit of mezcal never runs dry.
Cheers.
Coming up, it might look like a card game you know, but find out how this version is really about representation and challenging tradition. A San Francisco salon owner is celebrating a business expansion. Ismael de Luna owns Healing Cuts, which managed to stay afloat during the pandemic. Now he's opening Taboo right next door in the Castro.
To have support from the city is a big thing, and having support in the community is even bigger. So when we mix these two, you get Taboo. You get success. You get to see more businesses open in our communities.
So if they're helping to bring vibrancy to a neighborhood where there was a vacant storefront, well, let's help them get in there. And Ismael's business is one that has shown success and that is growing.
Ismael immigrated here from Mexico and identifies as queer. He says in his native country it wasn't easy, and says only in San Francisco has he been able to thrive, accepting who he is and being proud of it. He says he feels fortunate to have found a hobby and made it a profession. And he credits the city's support with programs like First Year Free for his expansion.
Also in the heart of San Francisco's Castro district, one man is blending tradition with a bold new vision for representation. Antonio Castellanos has turned a beloved Mexican game into a platform for queer Latino identity. Our Jose Martinez sat down with Antonio to learn more about Joteria, a queer twist on loteria that's creating waves in both the Hispanic and LGBTQ plus communities.
In his small Castro studio, Antonio Castellanos began creating Joteria 9 years ago, a queer twist on the traditional Mexican game, Loteria. But this is more than just a game. It's a bold challenge to deeply ingrained cultural norms.
What I'm trying to do is just show us. That's it.
La travesti. Joteria isn't just about playing. It's about confronting the machismo and homophobia that are often present in Hispanic culture.
Joteria means faggotry. And a person in Mexico, when they're using the word joteria, which comes from the word joto, which is derogatory, joteria is no longer derogatory because you are assimilating it to yourself.
Joteria has been showcased at festivals and events. The game is simple. Much like Loteria, players draw cards and match them to images on their boards. But in Joteria, the images reflect queer culture. According to the Human Rights Campaign and the Trevor Project, Latino queer youth face significant challenges, with nearly half reporting feelings of isolation and 42% stating that they have experienced rejection from their families.
Still not the easiest thing, but this at least creates conversation.
Antonio's journey to create Joteria wasn't easy. Growing up gay in a traditional Hispanic household, he struggled to find acceptance, but through his game, he's found a way to connect with others who share his experience.
As a queer kid, you learn really quickly to adjust yourself, to edit yourself so you can be accepted into your family.
Luis Cornejo, a therapist who specializes in working with queer Latino youth, explains why games like Joteria are so impactful.
Joteria, really creating that accessibility through something that's familiar to us, has allowed people to feel a lot safer when playing this game, but also the fact that it's an educational game.
For Antonio, Joteria is more than just a game. It's a mission to empower the next generation of queer Latinos, while also helping families navigate this together, just like in the game.
This is my mom. Esta es mi mamá. This is my dad. That's me. This is my partner. And these are my girlfriends as my sisters in this. This is Familia.
As Antonio continues to spread his message one game at a time, he's not just changing the game, he's changing lives.
Well, still ahead, he's taking the lead to create beautiful music. How this conductor says his Latino roots help him find the perfect harmony.
And see how a Bay Area art exhibition is putting issues of social justice in a new light.
Plus, he's not even old enough to vote just yet, why this Bay Area teen and others are knocking on doors to get people registered. Welcome back to Una Familia. I'm Gianna Franco.
I'm Len Ramirez. It is believed that Hispanics in the U.S. have the voting power to play a pivotal role this election year. And on the peninsula, efforts are underway to harness that power in a community that has historically experienced low voter turnout.
Our Veronica Macias explores how the youth are leading the charge for change.
Oliver Santiago Mendez is learning all about the election process. He is one of several teens with youth community service from Palo Alto who are being trained to register people in San Mateo County.
We also want to give them the call to action.
Within the Hispanic community, there's an estimated 36 million people eligible to vote this year, compared to 32 million in the last election. Yet the fastest emerging group of voters is voting at a lower rate than any other ethnicity.
I decided to get involved with youth community services because I was told I'm defined as someone who likes to help out the community. And so seeing what this program offers, I felt like it was something I would be very connected to.
In East Palo Alto, where turnout has been historically low, groups like the League of Women Voters of San Mateo County, Anamatangi Polynesian Voices, and Youth Community Service are collaborating on a nonpartisan registration drive within the Latino community. By deploying youth ambassadors like Oliver, The goal is to get people engaged and aware of the issues impacting them at a local level. It's a lot to take in for a high school student, so his job is to make sure that he hands people a card and directs them to the league's established registration page, vote411.org.
We feel like our voices aren't supposed to be heard, but as we've seen today through the slides, our voices do matter. Even if it's 1 or 2 votes, it can make a huge difference at the end.
With a young face at people's door who looks like the community here and speaks their language, the effort is to reduce barriers of any uncertainty and complexity around voting. In a race that's neck and neck at a national level, the Latino vote could be consequential in swing states.
It's a voting population that's still in flux, and it's in a way, the younger generation's up for grabs.
We're also seeing not all Latinos are alike. National origin and generation matters. On the topic of immigration, a Cuban American in Florida will identify differently on the issue, says Camarillo, than a first-generation Mexican American in California. Still, if history teaches us anything, back in the 1990s, Hispanic voters mobilized after an anti-immigrant ballot initiative. It also galvanized Latino politicians for years.
Political power brings other kinds of resources to communities. And Latinos learn that and realize that voting power means economic power, it means cultural power.
He's not voting himself, but Oliver feels empowered just by canvassing. Well, on this day, he was getting his feet wet, his mentors having to reel him in before finishing off his list.
Well, I wanted to finish off this floor so that we wouldn't have to come back. And then because I kind of enjoyed that, I enjoyed the human interaction, being able to talk with others.
Oliver's then once shy and quiet demeanor transformed, fueled by hopes of boosting voter turnout. Because the voting data reveals that Hispanic voters played a crucial role in battleground states, it could lead to more attention on the economic challenges, housing affordability, and education issues impacting the Latino community.
Recently, the Silicon Valley Community Foundation and San Mateo County Election Office decided to join the effort and will help fund the registration drive.
Another powerful way people are sharing their views on political and social issues is through art. Lorene Ayub introduces us to some talented Bay Area artists who are using their creativity to do the talking.
It's a life-size soft sculpture installation of an Aztec moon goddess. But for artist Melanie Cervantes, in many ways, she says the goddess also represents herself. Melanie's art is being displayed at the Oakland Museum in an exhibition entitled Cali, the Art of Chicanx Peoples.
For this exhibit, I wanted to go in a new direction, and I've created a fabric soft sculpture representation of a moon goddess from an Aztec creation story, or Mexica creation story. And it's really intended to evoke thought about the current political situations that we are involved in as Chicanx people.
It's the third time Melanie is having her art exhibited at the Oakland Museum, but it never gets old. As she takes in the surrounding pieces with curator Gilda Posada, she says it took time for her to accept and embrace her gifts as an artist.
My maestra, my teacher, who I met at UC Berkeley as an undergrad, and who was really the person that said, "You're an artist," and who I responded to by saying, "No, I'm not." So she did convince me, and I eventually embraced the identity and the practice of making art.
Melanie is also an expert in digital print artistry, and she's inspired by all artistic works on display at the exhibit. Gilda with the Oakland Museum says that is exactly the intention of the experience.
The Oakland Museum represents a temporary home in this way. It's the exhibition for Chicano people to come learn about their history, to come celebrate, to come together, to talk about important issues that are still taking place in our community in the fight for social justice and liberation.
And another social justice issue being addressed is food. The installation is by artist Jesus Barraza.
So really thinking about what does it mean to be a person whose creation stories come from the corn, right? And then now today be eating GMO corn, these tortillas that we eat that are really, as we would say, fake food, right? And so really connecting that with plastic corn and thinking about how this is all fake stuff that we are somehow now made to consume.
Whether addressing food injustices or war injustices, Melanie hopes the art will inspire visitors with new perspectives.
To not forget the political moment we are on the world clock, and to really invite folks to really contemplate what it means to be a good human being in this world.
And for creators and curators like Melanie and Gilda, that begins by simply taking the time to observe and listen.
And from art to music, we know music is a huge part of Hispanic culture. In Walnut Creek, you'll find a music director merging his roots with something maybe a little unexpected: classical music.
There's precision in each and every movement as Donato Cabrera leads the California Symphony.
In this case, there are about 70 people playing in the orchestra, but we have a chorus of about 120 singing in the chorus, plus 4 soloists. So that takes it to well over 200 people on stage. So it's a lot of individual thoughts that need to be sort of collected into a singular vision.
Conducting every instrument, note, crescendo, bringing these classical works of art to life.
I love what I do. You have to love something. When you're in the performing arts, you have to love it. It has to be your passion. Otherwise, it's just too difficult. It's just too difficult of a job.
A love of music ignited at a young age and influenced by his Mexican grandmother.
That initial love of music came from my Mexican grandmother, who played by ear a lot of Mexican waltzes and marches from the 19th century that her father, who was an itinerant musician in Mexico, taught her.
His heritage leading him to dig deeper into Mexico's classical music roots.
The first opera that was composed in North America was in Mexico City by a native born, someone who was born in Mexico City. That opera was premiered in 1703. So we forget that for a century and a half, the Spanish culture, which has, of course, very deep roots with classical music, was already here before, the United States was even an idea.
From preparation to the stage, creating a sound that shows his passion and love for the symphony.
Oh, good to see you, brother.
Good to see you,
Good to see you. It's been way too long.
And an appreciation for his family roots, especially his grandmother.
Her ability to sit down at the piano after a big meal at her house and gather the family. She had 5 sisters, my great aunts. They would all bring their special dishes with them, and we would have these family dinners. And my grandmother would go to the piano, and then we'd all go from the dining room table over to the living room and sit and listen to her play. This idea of community and family and love was something that I wanted to continue on in my life.
Opening the door for everyone to experience the joy that shines in these musical compositions. Planting the seeds of one's roots that have stood the test of time.
The California Symphony kicked off its 2024-2025 season in September at the Lesher Center of Performing Arts in Walnut Creek, and will have 5 performances.
And coming up, a lot of tradition with just enough modern twist. I take you inside this Oakland restaurant to learn the family secret to success.
More More Bay Area celebrations to share, this one for Mexican Independence Day on the peninsula. People gathered at the Menlo Park Senior Center for live mariachi music, authentic Mexican food, and dancing with colorful costumes.
Every town and every city, they have different dresses, and we like to be dressed from our hometowns.
Mexican Independence Day honors Mexico's liberation from Spanish rule.
And in Richmond and San Pablo, drummers made their way down the streets of Richmond and San Pablo for a Latin American Independence Day parade. There were Aztec dancers, classic cars, and lowrider bikes.
And we know our Bay Area communities are rich with Latino-owned family businesses.
That's exactly right. And one taqueria in Oakland is blending traditional recipes with modern flair. I met the family behind it that has persevered to provide customers with a very unique experience. At Mia, Comida Casera in Oakland's Jack London Square, everything is done the traditional way, by hand.
I am prepping lime juice for fresh margaritas.
Alfonso Dominguez runs the place with his wife Tina, his sister Erica, their longtime employee Jasmine, and Gloria, Alfonso's mother and part-time chef. They've built what they call a modern taqueria from scratch using Gloria's old family recipes from Jalisco, Mexico.
I actually called it Mia, and people asked, oh, do you have a daughter named Mia? I go, no, it's actually referencing mi casa's, tu casa. So it's actually when people, when they like a place, they say, I want to take you to my place. And they're saying mine, which is called Mia. So yes, it's like, it's basically, this is not my place, this is your place.
They have a simple menu they call traditional, not trendy, and play old school records on a turntable. And then there's the bar. Jasmine has been with the family for over 10 years through the ups and downs. She started in the family's previous restaurant, Tamarindo, which closed during the pandemic. When they opened Mia earlier this year, Jasmine jumped back on board and tends bar, creating specialty drinks like mezcal margaritas.
When you love your work and the ambience and the people that you work for, it doesn't really feel like it's a job. It feels like a second home.
Is the carne asada?
Alfonso was born in Oakland and grew up in his parents' restaurant called Salsa Taqueria in Antioch.
Get a nice little char to it.
But he could have been destined for another path in life. He graduated from Cal Poly with a degree in architecture, but the hospitality business was in his blood.
I was working at a firm in San Francisco, South Park area, and when the restaurant was super successful in Tamarindo, 2004, 5, 6, it just, you know, it was a lot of hours and I couldn't do both.
Alfonso left the firm but kept both feet planted in architecture and hospitality. He designed and built Mia and is now working with other partners to design and build their restaurants.
It's funny, but I'm still doing architecture and I'm doing both now still too.
Tina married into this great big Mexican restaurant family business and never skipped a beat. She's now a Spanish-speaking Indian Dane.
I'm the only one here. But I think that I lend myself to fitting in quite nicely.
Tina and Alfonso have 2 kids who also help out at Mia when they are not in school. They are perhaps the next generation in what's now a long line of successful, hard-working, and creative East Bay entrepreneurs. And still ahead, she took a chance and it paid off big time.
Now I'm playing for the Mexican national team. I'm traveling the world. I'm getting to represent my country. And it's all stemmed from me wanting to try something new.
How this athlete is helping put San Jose on the world stage.
Well, you never know what can happen unless you try, right? Well, that's something a San Jose native is experiencing right now.
Our Kevin Coe reports she's not only playing a sport on the world stage, she's also representing her family's heritage and legacy.
There we go.
Jaime Ramos grew up about 2 minutes away from this field, where she's now doing rugby drills.
One of the girls on the rugby team comes up to me and she's like, "You look athletic." I was like, "Okay." She goes, "Have you ever thought about trying rugby?" No, I don't really know what it is.
Going into uncharted territory led to a meteoric rise in the rugby world for Jaime.
Now I'm playing for the Mexican national team. I'm traveling the world. I'm getting to represent my country. And it's all stemmed from me wanting to try something new.
An exciting journey that started with a simple introduction when she was an undergrad at San Jose State.
It's cool to represent not just San Jose, but also the Mexican community in San Jose. It makes me really proud to be from San Jose.
San Jose is proud she's from the city too.
Today I have the pleasure of honoring homegrown international rugby athlete Jaime Ramos.
Jaime was honored during a recent city council meeting for representing San Jose and San Jose State as part of Mexico's Olympic rugby team.
She truly embodies the spirit of homegrown talent.
My first ever rugby coach is here with me, and he's been through almost every step of my journey.
I'm just so proud of her, really. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm just really proud.
James Fonda is the director of rugby at San Jose State.
Once you try the game and play the game and realize the avenues that you have in the channels is amazing. I never thought I'd be where I am now in rugby.
Both Fonda and Jaime share the unexpected opportunities rugby provided, but someone who would have never expected Jaime to be here never got to see her play.
I have her on my cleats.
Jaime's grandmother passed away 8 years ago.
She's like my best friend. I loved her. I love her. She's always part of me. My first time going to Mexico, I was just so overcome with emotions. I remember my parents looked over at me on the flight and they're like, Mija, are you okay? I'm like, I just feel grandma. Every time I get to throw on that Mexico jersey, I really just feel her with me.
Jaime's life is dedicated to her grandma, which is why in her final year of grad school at San Jose State, her dream is to do research and development for prosthetics and artificial organs.
I felt the best way to honor her would be to still help people, but do something that interests me, and it's making things.
Until then, Jaime is making a name for herself.
Jaime also plays in the Women's Premier League, the top women's rugby league in the country, but players aren't paid. She may be in luck, though, because the first professional women's rugby league in the U.S., the Women's Elite Rugby, plans to kick off its inaugural season next year.
And speaking of powerful Hispanic women, how about ladies revolutionizing the lowrider scene?
I used to go to the grocery store, just like everybody, pick up that lowrider magazine, look through it, and say, one day I'm going to own one of these.
How they're driving change and inspiring future generations.
In the heart of the Bay Area, the male-dominated lowrider scene is now being revolutionized by powerful women.
Our Jose Martinez spotlights the trailblazers who are driving change from San Francisco to San Jose.
This is the sound of chingona power or girl power. Meet Ruby Ramirez from San Francisco. From a young girl dreaming of lowriders to a proud owner, she's shattered stereotypes and proved women can lead in this scene.
I fell in love with lowriding as a young girl. I used to go to the grocery store, just like everybody, pick up that lowrider magazine, look through it, and say, one day I'm going to own one of these.
And she did.
I own this 1950 Chevy Fleetline, and as you can see, it's a little custom, just something subtle.
Ruby's hard work has earned her respect and trophies, a testament to her dedication.
This is our trophy room. So, as you can see, it's a little dusty. We call these the dust collectors.
In Sunnyvale, the Dueñas Car Club, an all-female group, is pushing boundaries and building a legacy. This sisterhood empowers women and passes the tradition to future generations.
My children were very small when I got my first car, and it's an amazing feeling to know that they want to be involved in it. Like, they want to have their own. Like, my daughter has her '84 Cadillac that I ended up getting for her when she graduated community college. And then, it's just, I can't wait to pass that along to my granddaughter now.
The lowrider movement, which began in East LA post-World War II, was once a male stronghold, but women began making their mark in the late 70s and 80s.
It was kind of, we took a kind of backseat, you know, we were helping our spouses or significant others, our husbands, our boyfriends, you know, getting ready for events, stuff like that. We didn't really, you know, we weren't in the driver's side. It wasn't our car.
The Dueñas Car Club, with its 20 members, is dedicated to community service, from toy drives to safety kits. They're redefining the scene with pride and passion.
Look at our kids. I mean, our youngest that we have here, she is 1.5 years. She is in our bike club. I mean, you see our daughters helping us. It's all about the pride and ownership. Also, not just about, you know, being chingonas, but, you know, being prideful of where you come, celebrating the culture.
From San Francisco to Silicon Valley, these women are not just revving engines, they're igniting a cultural shift.
It's so beautiful to see that, and to see that generation like coming up and to express not only like the lowrider culture like through pictures, but like in nails and hairstyles.
Creating a more inclusive community, celebrating everyone regardless of age or gender.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us for Una Familia, CBS News Bay Area's celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, highlighting the rich Hispanic cultures that make up our communities each and every day.
And you can find all of these inspiring stories in the Una Familia section of our website, KPIX.com. We hope you log on and share and keep those connections going.